Our reporter Canny Maphanga spoke to a whistleblower, June Bellamy, earlier on.
The various speakers that have been engaged in dialogues today have talked about doing the right thing, rooting out corruption, speaking out against corruption. But often when whistleblowers do this, they are ostracized from society, they lose their livelihoods and everything, and they're left destitute after making such a right decision. I have someone who has experienced such right next to me, Miss June Bellamy, a whistleblower in South Africa who's worked in this space and attempted to do the right thing, and it cost her quite a bit of her life and her normal being. June, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your very personal story. You are one of those whistleblowers that made an impassioned plea to say you've done the right thing and it left you with nothing, so to speak. You're not even able to pay your bills, etc. You did explain that yesterday during day one of this dialogue that is taking place on corruption in the public sector. Just talk us through your story briefly.
So in very short context, my name is June Bellamy. I'm a Samsung whistleblower. I whistleblew back in 2017. I was ostracized, isolated, mobbed, gaslit. My identity was leaked. There was no protection from the company, despite repeatedly asking them, begging them, all the way up to the president, for them to protect their whistleblower. These kind of situations should never happen. Firstly, your identity should never be leaked to the very person that you've whistleblown against. This is the reality, though. Now, what are the different things that we can do? Because these are our realities, and once that happens and the business effectively works you out of the business, you lose everything. And to date, as you mentioned, the pension is gone, I'm unemployable, I experience PTSD with the trauma, and all those triggers that come into your life at unexplainable moments set you back in getting work, stable work, and literally re-engaging and reintegrating into society once you've been so isolated and ostracized.
How do you take care of yourself and your loved ones since this change following deciding to be a whistleblower in a matter that was important to you?
From my side, I'm in a slightly different scenario because I'm single, I don't have a partner, I don't have children. However, the contribution that I was making to, other family members, my elderly mom, all of that is dried up. So the burden, the financial burden, then lands up on your other siblings if you have them. But in addition to that, you've got the extra stresses that you bring. So I made a conscious decision to effectively remove myself and my story and try to, create, compartmentalize it, because the stress on them was too much. But then again, that pushes you into another area of ostracization, and where do you go for support? And at the time, the Whistleblower House wasn't established yet. So what I did was I reached out overseas, and I became affiliated with other institutions that had been going for a bit longer, namely one of them is the Whistleblowers of America. And through them, we started engaging online, and I was lucky enough because I have training in mindfulness, and all those blocks that came together helped me through the trauma. However, as things progress and the situation changes, because what happens to you in the whistleblowing space, in the business, is very different to what you experience afterwards, because that's when the financial decimation comes. The mental stress and trauma, and as you know, in this country, the physical detriment, as we've seen unfortunately with people like Babita Dekoran. And you also have Ethel Williams that's had to flee the country. The issues that happen after the whistleblowing is a whole nother level that nobody is looking at.
As you continue to hear various stakeholders talking about doing the right thing, coming out to do the right thing, do you ever regret taking down this path and what it has led you to in your personal life? And you've lost your career, you've pretty much lost everything for doing the right thing. Do you ever look back at that and hear these statements and say, well, there isn't much value in what you've done since you've lost everything from it?
I like the question, is there any value in it? From my side, I think it's been a very serendipitous journey. I've always stood up against bullies. I've always spoken out against them. What's happened in this space is there's a lot of lessons to be learned. So now when we work with other whistleblowers, we've always said we want to make it better for those coming after us. We're in a better position now to assist them psychologically, eventually financially with attorneys, all that type of thing. One of the key aspects is the psychosocial impacts of whistleblower retaliation. Is a book that's coming out now in December. It was written by two authors, Whistleblowers of America, with a few collaborations from across the globe of other whistleblowers, myself being included. We don't earn any royalties from it, but this context of this book allows us to educate others that are coming into this space, that are thinking about doing it. And with all the civil society organizations out there, the ACM, Active Citizens Movement, Corruption Watch, Accountability Now, Defend Our Democracy, collaborating, we are putting together mechanisms to support us, be it the mental, the physical, the financial. So regrets, there's regrets in the way I did it because I was exceptionally naive. But the lessons that I have learned are astounding, and from these lessons we are hopefully putting in better processes.